are really excited to have today's conversation.
We in this room, the people in SF, in tech, at an AI innovation event, do not represent the market. Like if we think about the customer service space, the biggest density of customer service reps in the US are in Utah, Arizona, South Carolina, Georgia. And I'm sure they're very into AI. I'm sure they also don't see AI billboards on their way to work like we do driving in the 101. So this is going to take a long time to adopt. So I think that's a misconception that this is everywhere. It's everywhere for us. Like if we use an analogy of cloud software, still something like 60% of software spend is on-premise, which really is crazy. I don't even know how on-premise works, but it's still the case. And so this is going to be something, cloud's been around for what, 20 years? This is going to be a long, long journey. And back to education, we need to bring people on that journey. It's not going to be just turn it on, it works, people adopt it. That's not how this works.
I would say the areas that I was most surprised for that AI can do now is make decisions. Should I give this person a return or a refund? And you can give them a policy and you can say, hey, this is what I should do. And that actually really, really did not exist previously. It depends on if you're talking very enterprise customers or you're talking mid-market or you're talking SMB customers, right? SMB customers, if they're not adopting the AI, it might just be because the value's not that high. Sometimes the value is really high, but often we've talked to a lot of SMB customers and their support is highly, highly technical. You really, really need to know everything that's going on, and there's really no automations that can get around that, and you'll have one support person. If you're talking mid-market, actually, yeah, a lot of it is these hallucinations. People are scared. They don't want to bring this in. And then I think the enterprise is maybe like 10x that version, like 10x, right? It's like, well, I could lose my job if I have a, you know, I think there's some airline back in the back in 2023. I forget which one, but they had a chatbot that went way off the rails. That person probably lost their job.
The amount of inquiries we get around all the AI stuff is huge, but the challenge with it, as you said, hallucinations one, trust, but security as well. Like, where is my data going? Where are my questions going? Is it going to end up in some training data set for OpenAI? Like, I think it was Samsung, someone using ChatGPT, and their source code or bits of it ended up in the training data. And
yeah, I think three things come to mind here. There's an adage, I think the guy's name is Jerry Weinberg, I might be getting that wrong, but that every problem's a people problem. That's not going away. Every problem continues to be a people problem, and it's like getting people to do things, not in a mandated fashion, but like influence. AI does not really help that. That's not going away. So being able to be a great collaborator is just such a skill that's going to be valuable forever, in my opinion. The second one is critical thinking. You know, there's going to be a lot of data created, pieces created, like understanding like what is real. I think is a valuable thing. I mean, that's fairly obvious. And the third, I think, is brand. The next use case in SaaS has been, I think, creating marketing content, and I think there's a danger that it produces a plethora of sameness and bland brands that, you know, you could argue that existed before AI, SaaS brands just being very samey. But being able to, like, companies have an opportunity, a real opportunity to stand out by putting thought into their brand, not using AI generated brands. Like if you look at this image on the screen right here, we launched that in April, I think it was. And a lot of comments were like, what was the prompt to create that image? That's on our homepage. And it wasn't. That was like our VP of design found an artist that he really, really liked, and, you know, walked through many iterations to get to that. That is a brand that now stands out. It is not a single color on the website, it is a very distinct thing. And I think that kind of behavior and action and boldness is going to become more and more important as it is easier and easier to become sane.
Yeah, I'd echo all of those things. I'd say the other area that I think will be very helpful to most people is prompting, both in the literal sense and the meta sense, right? In order to write a good prompt, you need to be really specific. You need to have particular actions that you're going to ask an LLM or a person to do, right? And all of the things that make a good manager. It's the same as being a good prompter, right? You go and you're trying to tell someone to do something in a specific way. It might fight you, right? It might try to do something in a completely different, wild way that you don't want it to do, and you have to go back, you have to iterate and be a little bit better about that. More than just prompts, just being able to communicate effectively with someone in a very specific way, that's going to be super important regardless of anything else.
Yeah, all of those, and I'll add, if you're building AI products, I think knowing how to evaluate them becomes just as important, because there are so many ways people could break it intentionally or not. There's so many things it's going to do that you don't expect it to do, and so you've got to be really good at understanding how to evaluate it. It's really easy to write 100 prompts and they all work, and you're like, great, this thing works 100% of the time, until someone does something that wasn't in that list you had, and like being really good at coming up with those opposites is like massively important.
What are some of the AI companies that you guys personally admire that are really shaping and pushing the limits of what current AI models can do, as well as the business model of SaaS in general?
I think the ones that I find most interesting at the moment are the people that aren't working in the text space. So people like Figma who are trying to make images happen, and not just fancy, and you make a dog riding a skateboard, but can you design a UI? And that's such a different problem to be solving for AI.
I think if you're the types of companies, Perplexity is one of those that I think has a really great UI. I actually really admire Intercom, the products, and especially the branding. I think all of the things that Intercom is doing is really, really cool. There's a ton of smaller companies out there too, especially in the support space. There's this company called Sierra. They're founded by an ex-CEO, co-CEO of Salesforce, Brett Taylor, and they're doing some really cool stuff as well.